Coming up in this week's show, we help a viewer find a budget vehicle for the daily drive.
We go in search of a suitable vehicle with optimal ride comfort.
And we discuss the long-term ownership prospects of a remapped bakkie.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. We'll be tackling a fresh batch of your vehicle-related questions and queries once again. And here to help us this week are Mike Bradshaw from Top Gear Auto and Themba Kubai from Coupe Motoring. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Welcome
Hi.
back, Themba. Nice to have you back.
Good to have you guys back here again.
Remember, if you like the panel's advice, you can send us an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za or pop us a mail on Instagram @ignitiontv, and please include as much detail as you can. Plus, very nice picture of yourself.
Okay, we're going to kick off things with a question from Darian, who has a budget of 80,000 Rand and is looking to purchase a reliable daily runner. Understanding that the vehicle in this price range typically come with higher mileage, Darian seeks help on which options to consider. Themba, here's 80 grand. What are you going to go buy?
So for 80 grand, I'm going with a 2014 Ford Figo 1.4 Ambient. Small, nimble, fuel efficient, and easy to fit into tight spaces. So I think that would be a perfect little runaround.
Yeah, it's a super little car.
Nice
and I
little
think
car.
you've
Absolutely.
nail on the head. Now, Mike, when a guy walks into your shop and says, I've got 80 grand to spend, you say, here's a cappuccino.
Oh, there's the doors there. Look at those doors.
You know, we get asked that often. There's that budget for students and for people starting out it's that sweet spot. Unfortunately, there's a minefield of
Bad vehicles.
out
I mean
there
trash.
sold by
Bad people.
by bad sewer rats.
That's the
That's the
word
rats.
we like. We don't like the sewer rats who are selling this junk
Thank
to
you.
people.
So I don't very often get cars in this sort of budget. But if I did give a suggestion, it's exactly what your suggestion. I'd add a Honda Jazz if you could find one
Thank
of
you, Mike.
those
Yeah.
sort of vehicles, or a Japanese equivalent. And you can find these cars, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this from my colleagues. Go on to We Buy Cars, be patient. If you're going to buy a car from We Buy Cars at around the 80,000 mark, you must buy one at 70, because you're going to spend 10 grand on it.
Yes.
Okay. We Buy Cars gets a lot of flack. They say sell the car to them, they're great, but don't buy a car from them. You buying in this price range,
It's probably a
be
better
careful.
risk than buying from somebody.
Sewer rat.
I would
Sewer rat.
rather go and spend your money at We Buy Cars than to go and spend it at a sewer rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But know that if you're 80,000 Rand, anything that you buy south of 70,000 Rand will come in at your budget. You send it to your technician, you're going to do tie rod ends, might do a clutch, or blah, blah, blah. That's the advice.
And then, of course, you've got Korean cars, which are quite nice in that sort of price range.
Yes,
you
of
can look
course.
at a couple of
Absolutely.
like the older
Picanto.
previous
Absolutely.
generation Elantras,
I-10, I-20.
I-20s.
I-20s also.
If you can get your hands on a 1.4 Hyundai Getz, also very
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah, I remember I actually bought recently a Hyundai Getz from a customer, and it was like 3 seconds, and somebody wanted it out the workshop. Yeah,
They're good.
because they are.
I love the way Adam says, I bought it from the customer. What he means is he stole it from the customer.
Okay, I
Be
stole
honest,
it from the
Adam.
customer, and then sold
And
it
then
on to
ripped some
somebody
poor guy off in 3
else.
seconds.
Massive profit. I wish. Yeah.
Okay. Our next viewer is Gideon, a 56-year-old car enthusiast from Bloemfontein. He's currently driving a 2018 Suzuki Swift GL with 85,000 kilometers on the clock. Gideon wants to trade in his Swift, which has 63,000 Rand outstanding, and is looking at upgrading into either a Kia Sonet, Nissan Magnite, or the Suzuki Fronx, with a budget of 350,000 Rand for the new vehicle. Gentlemen, which vehicle would be the best buy? Also, what is the estimated trade-in value for his Swift? Mike?
Trade-in value with that sort of mileage, subject to view, about 130 grand,
So you'll have,
maybe 135.
you'd probably have 40K
Yeah,
to put the
there or
deposit
thereabouts.
on the next car.
Now, Themba, we've discussed this before. 350, you can buy yourself a Fronx. You sound like you're a fan of that Suzuki Fronx.
Yeah, for me, the Fronx, I feel like it's an amazing blend of great looks, modern looks, and also the equipment you get with Suzuki is just literally unmatched. So I think the Fronx would be the the car to go with. At a budget of about 350,000 rands, you're looking at like a GL Auto or maybe even a GLX thereabout. But funny enough, it's actually quite closely priced to the bigger Grand Vitara, but it would be the base trim GL.
On the Vitara,
yeah.
Or you get a 1-year-old or a demo with
If you,
8 or 5.
You can't find a demo any longer.
Well, that's
problem,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
if you can
Find a
find some.
demo Franks.
So you've also got the Kia Sonet and then a Nissan Magnite. Nissan Magnite to me is just a no-no.
Thank goodness you said that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like such a disappointing car. It's like
It is.
tinny, and when you look at it compared to the competitors, it's it's just doesn't compete in my opinion.
I have to agree. The Suzuki Franks is numero uno, or a Suzuki Vitara as a demo, and then the Kia Sonet and Nissan wouldn't be on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you look at like the last of the Suzuki Brezzas or the Toyota Urban Cruisers, which is the same vehicle, you're going to find one in, under your budget, and it's basically mechanically the same as the Franks. It's got, you mentioned that nice 1500 engine that they run in literally everything. Make good, reliable cars. It's turning into a bit of the Suzuki show.
Sure, yeah.
Again,
You know what it is?
Timber, you don't work for them, do you?
No, I don't. I promise. I
He's
don't.
the new PR officer.
He's the PR officer, yeah.
I think what it is the fact that Suzuki just seem to fit cars into the right price bracket with the right spec. And they're good-looking cars. If you look at some of the other competitors, the stuff they bring out is like, it's ugly. It doesn't. And the Swift is pretty, and the Urban Cruiser was nice. The Franks is a good-looking car.
I just think
they've got just everything just ticks the box.
Suzuki has made a concerted effort to make sure that for 350K you get a 350 grand car.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't want to mention any names, but other brands that are using Suzuki change the name, and because of the mark,
Make it more expensive.
making more expensive. Why?
Well, I suppose, there are, reasons for that. But if
Yeah,
we-
money.
we're not going. But if we look at the car that you've got a Suzuki Swift, you've obviously
Fan,
enjoyed
yeah.
the car, you've had the experience of what it does for you, then go and if you trade that in on a
Suzuki.
Bronx or one of the other Suzukis that you prefer, you're going to get a good deal on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on now and stay tuned, because after the break, we're going in search of a suitable vehicle with optimal ride comfort.
And we find out if a 2015 Kia Cerato Coupe is a good used buy. You're watching Buyer's Guide, and if you just joined us, welcome to this week's show. Sipumelele is from East London, but relocated to Johannesburg for work. He is currently driving a 2018 Polo Vivo with 90,000 kilometers on the clock. With a budget of 400,000 Rand, he is considering upgrading to either Mercedes-Benz, Audi or BMW that can handle the monthly journey from East London to Johannesburg and back. He's considering keeping the Polo Vivo as a second car for his fiancée to use when she eventually comes to Johannesburg. However, if necessary, he's willing to sell the Polo to increase his budget. Which vehicle would be the best buy for him? Temba?
I would look at the Mercedes-Benz A-Class facelift 2018 to 2020. At that particular price point, slash CLA, they are the same platform, depending on what kind of styling he prefers. So I feel like it's still very modern. You still get all the modern goodies. You still get the Mercedes-Benz feel, although the suspension might be a bit on the rougher side if you go for the AMG line, because they do come with sport suspension. I think the F-Series, BMW 1 Series is also a good choice. 120i, 120D, performance, loads of that from either engine. Same goes for the Mercedes A200, A220D, depending what they feel like in terms of, they have a lot of choice basically, diesel, petrol, motors, it's all in there.
Mike, 400 grand.
Tim has hit the nail on the head, but I'm a little bit older, and speaking as a 28-year-old or what he wants, you're 100% correct. But I've got a wife, and I've had my firstborn, and as much as those two cars are nice, it's not going to really fit a
pram
chair, pram, bottles and all of that sort of thing. So I'd go for a really boring suggestion, but that will give longevity, and that would be either a Toyota Corolla Cross or even a Honda Elevate.
Yeah, so, you know, when you mention something like that, that falls into his price budget.
But it's definitely not a 28-year-old a Mercedes-Benz, definitely, or a BMW. You are 100% correct. But, you know, practically as a father-to-be, a husband,
Space.
space.
You're going to be looking for the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, now, when I read this, and the first thing he said, he wants something that's really, really comfortable. The first thing that came to mind was Volvo. Now, you could buy yourself for 400,000 rand a really good XC60 D4.
That is a good suggestion. Yeah.
And it's
Very
such a fuel efficient, powerful, extremely comfortable car, and is actually a surprisingly good package. They're very reliable, very comfortable to drive, very fuel efficient, all that. But, you know, he's 28. And I know what's going to say, 28, I'm buying a Volvo. I want something.
But the XC60 is a very nice looking car.
400,000 rand.
Very nice looking car, very well spec'd.
Yeah, and I struggle to find one in that price range. That's why I say the S60, sedan version. You've got a big boot. You've got a spacious car, which is probably one of the most comfortable cars to drive. If you're doing a long trip, and you get a spare wheel, because BM's not going to give you a spare wheel, and when you're stuck in, you know,
because
Queenstown in a puncture, you got a problem.
Yeah. Because of its so-called bad rep, he's going to get an excellent deal on an S60.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. And two, I wouldn't dare disagree with Adam about Volvos, because they're still looking for his last friend that did that.
Buried him. Buried him. Have a look at something like that. It's worthwhile. I'm with you. If I had to say to you, you want a BM or Merc or whatever, then you go and buy, like Temba said, like a 3 Series 320 diesel. You buy the diesel version. Stay away from the petrol versions. They're rubbish. Buy the diesel version. But go and drive it. Find yourself an S60 and go and drive it, and you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Okay, moving on now. Spumi wants to purchase a Kia Cerato coupe. His concern includes finding the best option that will not cause trouble in the future and will be easy to maintain. The one Spumi found has 100,000 Ks on the odometer and is a 2015 model. Would this be a good buy? Mike, here's a pile of cars. Are they all good? Or don't you know?
The Kia Cerato.
Yeah.
Coupe. Yeah, that's a great car. That is really good. That engine is reliable. The coupe looks sexy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have performance that it looks like.
Like it looks like, yes.
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 The 1.6 turbo is not too bad. Then there was the earlier 2-litre version. But the nice thing about that is that, I mean, let's be honest. You can get into a Ferrari where you're going to drive the thing fast anyway. There's too much traffic. The roads are shocking condition.
But you know what?
It just looks cool.
I looked at 2015 with 100 is going to fall into the budget of around 200 grand. So what other options are there that are quite sexy, that are reliable? And you could get a slightly older 120 around about the same sort of money with 130,000 Ks. Or you could be adventurous, roll the dice, and buy a Renault RS 275.
Wow.
Mike.
Where do you roll the dice?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
The guys at the Renault club are waiting for you downstairs. They're going to stab you with a spoon.
Temba, your thoughts here again.
So my thoughts here, I agree. Looks-wise, it looks phenomenal. Looks like a performance sports coupe, akin to like something from a coupe BMW and so on. But considering performance, you come across something like a Golf GTI boy racer car, yeah, you might be disappointed, because with a car looking like that, you'd expect a bit of performance. So that's my take on that.
The thing is that Kia Cerato coupe will be long, still driving on the roads.
When the GTI is lying in
a lot of other
scrapyard.
cars are in the scrapyard or in the midnight spare shop, you know. That's the problem.
It's definitely something to consider.
I like the Kia. I think Kia
I think that coupe is an awesome looking
underrated car. Yeah, and there's also, you know, you say the guy pulls up next to a GTI. Every Tom, Dick and Harry's got a GTI or a GTI lookalike one. Vroom, bah, down the road. And you just go in your Kia and it's cool. It's something different. I quite like that idea. Okay.
We'll be taking a short break, but when we return, we find out if a Renault with 80,000 kilometers is a good used buy.
And we discuss the long-term ownership prospects of a remapped bakkie. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Our next viewer is Mike from Cape Town. He found French cars unreliable in the 80s due to expensive parts, lack of availability, and difficult in repairs. Observing many Renaults on the road today, he wonders if they have improved with Nissan's input. He also wants to know if a used Renault with around about 80,000 kilometers on the clock is a good choice for a town car, and will it be easy to maintain. Mike, I'm going to ask you, you're a dealer, 80,000 Ks on a Renault. We don't know what Renault's looking at. Could be a Renault Quid or it could be a Renault Duster.
Again, RS.
What is it? What could be a Quid, eh?
Yeah. If it's a Renault Quid, it's past its sell-by date at 80,000 Ks.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean,
No, I'm
that was
teasing.
79,000 Ks
but
prior. Yeah.
The Renault Clios with 80,000 Ks, the simple engines, they seem to be good, reliable.
Town cars, yeah.
Town cars, definitely. I don't know if Renault has sorted out their parts supply issues. That's something to think about.
Look, let me just say that being in the trade, every single manufacturer
Has a
issues with
parts problem.
It depends on the part you're looking for. Sometimes, I mean, we deal with Renault on a regular basis. Parts availability, not an issue. But sometimes there's a part there that is not available. Maybe because of the scarcity of the part, the kind of vehicle. And that's what you'll find with every manufacturer. So I don't want to diss
Renault per se, yeah.
but it does come across,
But I've not
have a
had
problem
really
with parts.
had
They
a
don't-
serious problem with Renault.
No.
Maximum has taken them is 3 days,
Yeah.
and the parts are
But
there.
that's standard across the industry. But if when you look at a car like a Renault, it's all French cars really going to throw that in there and say it's a bit of a risky buy. 80,000 Ks and you can get something that's fantastic, or you get something that gives you trouble. So why would you go and buy something like that? Why not just go and find a car that's got 80,000 Ks on the clock that's known for reliability? Go and buy yourself a Honda. You could buy it with
But he remembers the
800,000 Ks on it.
Renaults fondly, Adam.
Yeah.
He remembers them fondly. He
likes the old
He
ones.
likes the old ones.
So do
maybe
I.
you should go buy an old one.
Back record. Yeah.
Would you buy a Renault?
I mean, of course, at this mileage point, I don't see any issues. There are so many Clios, so many Megans out there with way more mileage and running every day.
Like any car, you can say to me, I mean, Mike, you'll attest to this, and the fact that you can get 20 people bring your cars in today, all got 80,000 Ks on them. Some will be absolutely magnificent, and others will be absolute junk.
Exactly.
It just depends on the driver, doesn't it? And they could all be exactly the same car. 20 Renault Clios with 80,000 Ks on arrive. Throw away. Okay, I'll take that one. Throw away that one. Oh, that's a fantastic. Oh, this is a belter. Yeah. So it is the
been looked
problem.
after. Yeah.
It's how it's been taken care of, yeah.
Yeah. You have to go and look at each individual car and give it credit.
This is quite like a generalized question.
Yeah.
Will you buy a used Renault with 80,000 Ks? My first answer to that would be absolutely not. But I don't know the car.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. And like you guys say, you could be an awesome Renault with 80,000 kilometers.
Maybe you want that little Renault Duster with 80,000 Ks on, which would be, that's cool, go and buy it, Just depends on what you're looking at.
Our last question comes from Rouvet. Her and her husband are the proud owners of a 2019 GWM Steed 5E double cab with 59,000 kilometers on the clock. The vehicle has been well maintained with no issues. Her husband, has remapped the bakkie, and the concern is whether this modification will be beneficial in the long run. Additionally, there is worry about its impact on the bakkie's reliability, particularly since it was done to enhance power and improve turbo lag, primarily for their towing of the caravan. Now, I know my take on this, what it's going to be. Yes, you reduce the reliability of the engine because you've now gone and put something in there that the manufacturers will vehemently disagree with. But that's just my take on it. What do you think, Mike?
My father used to say something. If you don't learn from a lesson, it wasn't a lesson. Okay, so a lot of my heartache and my pain is through my wallet with remapped engines of all caliber. I've just gone through a Ford Figo diesel that was remapped. I didn't know about it, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. Can't get it right. Golf R, Golf GTI, Ford ST, 2-liter bi-turbos.
Every one of those cars will get remapped.
Are you
by their
joking?
owners. Yeah.
Just leave the flippin' car or buy something
Buy something with a bigger turbo.
with a bigger turbo
comes
that,
from the factory.
that fits in your budget. If you're going to be towing a caravan and you can afford 350 and the GWM fits into that mark, rather buy a second-hand older Isuzu. Don't modify the brand because it fits into your newer car budget. Rather
agree
go
with
for
that,
a
Trevor?
slightly older and
Yeah, absolutely agree. But like Micah said, there's so many cars out there that are being tuned. Tuning is a thing. I think if you're going to go with the decision of tuning, number one is go with a reputable tuner.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things to consider when tuning a car. The cooling must be right. And yeah, it's tricky, but the first option is always to buy something with better performance that's stock.
Don't buy a Toyota Aygo if you want to tow a 6-berth caravan. Buy the Hilux. Yeah, I think here again it's difficult to say. You say you've had no issues with the vehicle. Sometimes there's a very mild tune that people do to engines, and it works. But the other 85% of the time, there can be problems with them, and the only time you know if it's going to be a problem is by driving it and seeing what occurs. But it does sound like this one is just a mild tune to actually help with the turbo lag and to help with the towing. We can't say if it's going to be reliable or not.
My take on it is, if the manufacturer wanted you to run it at the remap stage, they would have done it before they sold you the vehicle.
Yeah.
Because you're definitely reducing the reliability as well as the longevity of the engine. It's
also
completely taken away.
when you tow something, you're putting that engine under stress.
Under severe stress, yes.
And now you extra
precisely.
stress on it, yeah.
Heating and
I know a lot of the
turbo.
tow guys do this. They sort of get a little bit extra performance out of it. But the only way you're going to know if it affects your reliability
Is when it breaks down.
is when it breaks down. And will it be related to that? Or is it related to the fact that your vehicle is too small to tow the caravan? How big is the caravan? We don't know. Is it one of those little micro caravans, or is it a massive tank that you're towing behind you? So that is the issue with it. Yeah. Okay, unfortunately, just like that, we've come to the end of another episode. Temba and Mike, thank you once again for joining us in studio. It's great having you here. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to join us. Thanks.
Until next time, remember to keep left, pass right. Please keep it safe on the roads.